Hi, it's Reggie, and welcome back to Moonlight Moments. I think it's interesting how quickly people notice when something changes. Maybe someone stops relying as fast. Maybe they stop showing up the way they usually do. Maybe they go quiet for a while. And somehow, silence makes people curious, sometimes concerned, sometimes uncomfortable. Tonight's story is about someone who disappeared, or at least that's what everyone believed. This is about boundaries, about guilt, about what happens when someone finally chooses themselves after spending a long time choosing everyone else. So, if you've ever ignored a notification and immediately felt bad about it, or wanted space but felt like you needed permission first, maybe keep that somewhere in your mind while you listen. So, take a breath and let's begin. The hallway lights outside apartment 3B flickered every night after midnight. Nobody reported them anymore. The building was old enough that people stopped expecting things to work properly. The elevator shook between floors. Pipes knocked behind walls for reasons nobody understood. And during storms, rainwater leaked through window corners no matter how many times management promised repairs. What they didn't learn to live with was silence. Mara had lived in apartment 3B for 4 years, long enough that neighbors recognized the rhythm of her existence without realizing they had memorized it. Every morning around 7:12, her door opened. Coffee cup, black coat, fast footsteps, sometimes headphones, sometimes phone calls, almost always apologizing. Sorry, I'm running late. Sorry, I'll call you back. Sorry. She apologized enough that people began expecting it. The woman from apartment 3A noticed first. Not because Mara disappeared, because she realized she had spent 3 mornings unconsciously waiting for footsteps that never came. Monday passed, then Tuesday, then Wednesday. Nothing. No coffee grinder, no hurried footsteps, no door opening. Only old pipes shifting inside walls. At first, nobody thought much about it. People were busy, people traveled, people disappeared for weekends. But by the following week, messages started circulating. Have you heard from Mara? She's not answering. Can someone check on her? Friends texted, called, waited, nothing. The strange part wasn't the silence. The strange part was that apartment 3B still seemed occupied. A grocery delivery appeared outside her door one afternoon. Hours later, it was gone. A takeout bag sat outside overnight, gone by morning. One rainy evening, someone returning from work noticed light beneath the door. A thin orange line stretched across the hallway floor. By the time they walked closer, darkness. People started paying attention after that. Not intentionally, at least not at first. You simply noticed things when something unsettled you. Sometimes water pipes rattled from behind the walls near apartment 3B. Sometimes shadows moved behind curtains. Once, someone swore they heard music playing softly. Another neighbor insisted they heard crying. Someone else claimed laughter. Nobody could agree, which somehow made everything worse. Weeks passed, concerns slowly changed shape. Friends stopped asking, I hope she's okay. Instead, they asked, what do you think happened? Theories filled empty spaces. Burnout, depression, family emergency, something terrible. People always preferred answers, even invented ones. The hallway outside apartment 3B slowly changed. Neighbors walked quieter near the door. People glanced longer while passing. Someone left flowers. Someone removed them days later. The woman from apartment 3A started checking for a light beneath Mara's door before bed without understanding why. Apartment 3B became something people watched, without admitting they were watching. By the second month, Mara's absence felt larger than she had actually been there. Then one night, during heavy rain, someone knocked. Not gently, 3 hard knocks that echoed through the hallway. No answer. They knocked again. Apartment doors slowly opened. People peeked outside. Another knock. Still silence. Then, movement. A shadow crossed underneath the door. Everyone froze. The lock clicked. Slowly, the door opened. Mara stood there, alive. Hair slightly longer, wearing oversized clothes, looking tired, looking ordinary. For several seconds, nobody moved because people prepared themselves for bad news. Not this. Oh my god, someone whispered. Voices followed immediately. Where were you? You disappeared. We've been worried. Why didn't you answer anyone? Questions filled the hallway faster than relief. Mara looked from face to face. Neighbors, friends, people waiting, people expecting. Standing beneath flickering hallway lights, she realized something quietly. Nobody asked, "Are you okay?" Nobody asked, "What happened?" Nobody asked, "What did you need?" Only, "Where were you? Why didn't you tell us?" 2 months earlier, Mara had closed her apartment door because she was tired. That was all. Not dramatic exhaustion, not collapse. Just the kind that quietly follows you home every evening and waits beside your bed. She had planned to rest for a weekend, then another day, then another. At first, the silence felt uncomfortable. She reached for her phone constantly, wondered who she disappointed, wondered who was angry, wondered whether she owed everyone an explanation. Somewhere beneath slow mornings and untouched notifications, she remembered things she hadn't noticed disappearing. How coffee tasted when it wasn't rushed. How silence sounded when nobody expected anything from it. How strange it felt to exist without preparing explanations before making choices. The first week brought guilt. The second brought discomfort. Then fear. Because if she stopped showing up for everyone, who would she become? So she waited for disaster, for friendships to disappear, for people to stop caring, for the world to punish her. Instead, mornings continued. Rain still came, the building still breathed, life continued without asking permission. Standing in the hallway after 2 months, Mara realized the thing that frightened her most was never being alone. It was discovering how long she had lived, believing she needed permission to choose herself. She looked past everyone toward rain sliding down stairwell windows, smiled softly, stepped into the hallway, locked apartment 3B behind her. And when everyone waited for an answer, she finally gave herself something she had spent years giving everyone else. Nothing. She kept walking, and for the first time in a very long time, she didn't feel guilty. Maybe what made Mara's story uncomfortable wasn't the silence. Maybe it was what the silence exposed. Because if someone disappears and we immediately assume something terrible happened, sometimes we have to ask ourselves why choosing distance feels less believable than disaster. Most of us are taught very early that being needed is a good thing. Be available, be helpful, answer quickly, show up, make yourself easy to reach. And somewhere along the way, many of us quietly learn something else too. That access equals love. That if people can reach us, then we matter. That if people need us, then we are important. So when we pull away, even temporarily, it doesn't always feel like rest. Sometimes it feels like failure. Sometimes it feels selfish. Sometimes it feels dangerous. Because boundaries often create emotions that look very similar to fear. What if people get upset? What if they stop liking me? What if they think I've changed? What if they leave? For people who were used to constantly showing up, Boundaries rarely feel empowering at first. They feel wrong. Mara didn't disappear because she hated people. She disappeared because she forgot what existed underneath everyone else's expectations. And maybe that's what makes stories like hers feel unsettling. Not because someone vanished, but because many people listening know exactly what it feels like to continue showing up long after they needed rest. There is something strangely exhausting about constantly preparing explanations for your own existence. Explaining why you're tired, explaining why you said no, explaining why you need time, explaining why you didn't answer immediately, explaining decisions that belong to you. Eventually, the explanation itself becomes heavier than the thing you're trying to explain. Boundaries don't look dramatic. Sometimes they look like unanswered notifications. Sometimes they look like not posting for a while. Sometimes they look like taking space without writing a carefully crafted announcement explaining why. The uncomfortable truth is that people often react to boundaries not because boundaries are wrong, but because access changed. And when access changes, people notice. But someone noticing your boundary does not automatically mean your boundary is harmful. Choosing yourself can feel frightening because many of us have practiced abandoning ourselves for so long that self-protection feels unfamiliar. That's why guilt often arrives first, then discomfort, then silence, then eventually, space. And inside that space, sometimes you discover something surprising. The world continues, people adjust, morning still comes, rain still falls, and slowly, quietly, you begin learning that choosing yourself does not always require permission. Sometimes the scariest door to open isn't apartment 3B. Sometimes it's the one between who you've always been for others and who you become when you finally choose yourself. Maybe you've never disappeared for 2 months. Maybe nobody stood outside your door wondering where you went. But maybe you know what it feels like to become tired of being reachable. Maybe you've stared at a notification and thought, I can't answer this right now. Then immediately felt guilty. Maybe you've wanted to take a break from social media but worried people would notice. Maybe you've thought about canceling plans and spent more energy preparing explanations and asking yourself what you actually needed. Sometimes exhaustion doesn't arrive dramatically. Sometimes it arrives quietly. Replying when you don't want to, saying yes when your body already said no, answering because silence feels rude, posting because disappearing feels wrong, explaining because boundaries feel uncomfortable. Many people live with an invisible pressure to remain available, not because someone directly asked them to, but because availability slowly became identity. You become the reliable friend, the helper, the person who always responds, the strong one. And when showing up becomes part of who you believe you are, stepping away can feel terrifying. Because boundaries don't only challenge relationships. Sometimes they challenge identity. You stop responding immediately and wonder, am I selfish? You take space and wonder, will people be upset? You say no and wonder, do I owe an explanation? What's difficult is that these questions often arrive before a simpler one. What do I need? Maybe this is why breaks feel uncomfortable. Because when the noise disappears, you finally hear yourself. At first, the silence can feel wrong. You wonder if you should explain, should apologize, should come back faster, should make your absence easier for other people. But not every pause requires an announcement. Not every no requires a presentation. Not every boundary requires approval. Sometimes you take a break because you're tired. Sometimes you disappear because constantly being visible became exhausting. Sometimes your version of apartment 3B is simply turning off notifications for a while. And maybe the surprising part isn't discovering who became upset. Maybe it's realizing how much energy you spent managing expectation that hadn't even happened yet. Whatever your version looks like, many people know exactly what it feels like to stand at the door wondering, am I allowed to choose myself? The answer is yes. even when it feels unfamiliar, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when people don't understand immediately. If you spend a long time being available, boundaries can feel less like self-care and more like danger. Which means if saying no feels uncomfortable, that doesn't automatically mean you're doing something wrong. It might simply mean you're doing something unfamiliar. Sometimes we imagine boundaries as large dramatic moments, big conversations, major life changes, important announcements, but often boundaries begin quietly. They begin with smaller doors. Maybe your first boundary isn't saying no to everything. Maybe it's waiting before answering. Maybe it's allowing a message to exist without immediately responding. Maybe it's noticing exhaustion because you push through it again. Maybe it's asking yourself a question you rarely ask. What do I actually want right now? You don't have to start by disappearing for 2 months. You can start smaller. You can practice letting discomfort exist without immediately fixing it. Because sometimes the hardest part of boundaries isn't other people's reactions. It's surviving your own guilt long enough to realize guilt isn't always truth. You might feel selfish, you might feel rude, you might feel like you're disappointing someone. These feelings are uncomfortable. But uncomfortable does not always mean incorrect. Something else worth remembering. Not everyone needs access to every version of you. You are allowed to have quiet seasons. You are allowed to have unavailable days. You are allowed to protect energy that hasn't even fully returned yet. And sometimes, the kindest thing you can do for yourself is stop turning every boundary into an explanation. You don't always need a long message, perfect reason, a carefully written apology. Sometimes, no. Sometimes, not right now. Sometimes, nothing at all. Apartment 3B wasn't important because Mara disappeared. It mattered because she finally closed the door she kept leaving open. Maybe there is a door in your life that needs closing too. Not forever, not dramatically, just long enough to hear yourself think again. So this week, maybe practice something small. Pause before immediately saying yes. Let one notification wait. Choose rest before justification. And if guilt disappears, let it sit beside you for a while. You don't have to obey it, because learning boundaries sometimes means learning something unexpected. You can't disappoint expectations without abandoning yourself. Find a comfortable position. You don't need to change anything around you right now. Just allow yourself to arrive here for a moment. Notice the surface beneath you. Notice the weight of your body. Notice the quiet that already exists around you. Take a slow breath in and a slower breath out. Imagine yourself standing in a long hallway. The lights above flicker softly. Rain taps gently against distant windows. There are many doors here. Some belong to responsibilities. Some belong to expectations. Some belong to versions of yourself that learned how to survive by always remaining open. Walk slowly. You don't need to rush. Notice one door. Maybe you already know which one it is. The door you keep open because you feel guilty closing it. The door that stays unlocked because you're worried what others might think. The door you stand beside even when you're exhausted. Walk toward it. Place your hand on the handle. You don't need anger. You don't need permission. You don't need a perfect explanation. Just notice how heavy it has become carrying it open all this time. Take another breath and gently close the door. Not forever, just for now. Listen carefully. The world continues. Rain still falls. The building still breathes. Nothing dangerous happened. You are still here. Take another breath. Notice the quiet. Notice how strange it feels. Notice how peaceful it can become. You do not have to earn a rest. You do not have to justify every boundary. You do not need permission to protect your energy. Imagine yourself walking away from the door now. Not running, not apologizing, simply walking. step by step, carrying only what belongs to you. Take one final breath in and slowly breathe out. Tonight, you are allowed to choose yourself. And for now, that is enough. Maybe tonight's story wasn't really about disappearing. Maybe it was about what happens when someone finally stops abandoning themselves. And maybe I should admit something too. I disappeared for a little while. For about 2 months actually. Did I feel guilty sometimes? Yeah. Did I wonder if I should explain myself more? Also yes. But here's what I discovered. The world didn't end. I didn't ruin anyone's life. Morning still came, people kept living, life moved forward. And somewhere inside all that quiet, I remembered something important. Rest doesn't always need permission. If you spend a long time being available, I hope you remember this. You are allowed to protect your energy before there is nothing left. You are allowed to choose yourself before exhaustion chooses for you. And you are allowed to step away sometimes without turning your absence into an apology. Maybe your version of apartment 3B isn't a place. Maybe it's simply a moment, a pause, quiet evening, a notification left unanswered. Whatever it is, I hope you give yourself permission to visit it sometimes. Thank you for being here with me tonight. Follow Moonlight Moments wherever you listen and share it with someone who might need a little light today. Until next time, and as always, love yourself better than yesterday.
I turn the lights down low tonight. Watch the city blur outside. Messages lighting up my screen, like they still know where I've been. Footsteps echo down the hall. Someone waiting for my call. But for the first time I stay still and let the silence say what it will. Maybe disappearing isn't what it seems. Maybe I've been losing pieces of me. I was never missing, just somewhere in between. Learning how to hold myself without needing to be seen. The world kept turning slowly, morning found me anyway. Maybe choosing me this time wasn't running away. Rain keeps tapping on the glass. Hours stretching slowly past. I thought quiet would feel cold. Instead it feels like coming home. Notifications fade to black. I don't think I want them back. For once I close the door behind and leave apologies behind. Maybe all this silence was something I should keep. Maybe I was tired more than I could speak. I was never missing, just somewhere in between. Learning how to hold myself without needing to be seen. The world kept turning slowly, morning found me anyway. Maybe choosing me this time wasn't running away. If they ask where I have been, I don't know the ending. Some doors close softly, some hearts need mending. Rain still falls outside, but something finally changed. I stopped waiting for permission and walked away. I was never missing, just finally listening. to all the parts inside of me. I kept forgetting. The world kept turning slowly, and I survived the space. Maybe choosing me this time was the safest place.